My brother and my sister, a bird lived in a cage for so long that when the door finally opened, it became afraid of the sky. Think about that. The thing it was created for suddenly felt strange because the cage had become familiar. My brother, my sister, sometimes Allah opens the cage, but your heart still cries for the bars. People leave, old places feel heavy, old conversations feel empty. Your heart no longer fits where it once belonged, and you think, why am I losing everything? But maybe you are not losing everything. Maybe Allah is removing the cage before He teaches your soul how to fly. This strange distance you feel may not be rejection. It may be Allah moving you higher. Lesson 1. When Allah cuts the cord, He is breaking the cage. Sometimes Allah creates a distance you did not ask for. Someone stops calling you. A place stops feeling peaceful. A friendship becomes heavy. A door that used to open suddenly becomes closed. And your heart begins to ask, why is this happening? Why do I feel so far from people I once loved? Why does everything feel different now? But listen carefully. Sometimes Allah does not create distance to punish you. Sometimes Allah creates distance to free you. Because there are cords in your life that look like love, but they are actually control. There are attachments that feel comfortable, but they are quietly weakening your faith, your peace, your focus, and your future. You may be crying because Allah cut the cord, but Allah knows that cord was tied to a cage. You thought you were losing someone. Allah knew you were losing a prison. You thought that connection was keeping you safe. Allah knew it was keeping you small. You thought that place was your comfort. Allah knew it was becoming your limit. My brother, my sister, not everything familiar is good for you. Sometimes the thing you are afraid to lose is the very thing that is stopping you from becoming who Allah wants you to become. That is why the distance feels strange, because your soul is used to the cage. Your heart became used to certain voices, certain habits, certain people, certain places. Even when they hurt you, they were familiar. And the human heart sometimes chooses familiar pain over unknown peace. So when Allah begins to pull you away, it can feel like rejection. It can feel like loneliness. It can feel like something is being taken from you. But in reality, something is being removed from your path. Allah may cut the cord before you have the strength to cut it yourself. He may remove people before you become too attached. He may close a door before your heart builds its whole life behind it. Because Allah sees what you do not see. He sees the conversation behind your back. He sees the jealousy hidden behind the smile. He sees the influence that slowly pulls you away from prayer, away from discipline, away from peace, away from Him. So do not cry too long over what Allah separated from you. Yes, feel the pain. You are human. Yes, miss them. Your heart is soft. Yes, wonder why. That is normal. But do not run back to a cage just because freedom feels lonely at first. The distance you feel may be Allah teaching you how to breathe again without the weight of people who were never meant to carry your next chapter. Sometimes Allah breaks the cord because He is breaking the cage. And when the cage finally opens, do not mistake the empty space for loss. That empty space may be the first sign that Allah is moving you higher. Lesson 2. The distance came because your old world could not hold your new rank. Sometimes the reason you feel distant is not because you became cold. It is because Allah is changing your level. The people who once understood you no longer understand your silence. The places that once made you happy no longer give your heart peace. The conversations that once excited you now feel empty. The habits you once enjoyed now feel heavy on your soul. And you begin to wonder, what is wrong with me? But maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe Allah is lifting you out of a world that no longer has space for the person He is making you become. My brother, my sister, when Allah raises a servant, He does not only change their situation, He changes their taste. He changes what they can tolerate. He changes what their heart accepts. He changes what their soul can sit with. That is why some distance feels strange. You are still in the same body, but your heart is not in the same place anymore. You may still know the same people, but you no longer feel the same connection. You may still visit the same places, but your soul feels like it has moved on. You may still hear the same jokes, the same gossip, the same complaints, But something inside you says, this is not where I belong anymore. That feeling can hurt, because elevation is not always loud. Sometimes elevation feels like separation. Sometimes growth feels like grief. Sometimes Allah moves you higher by first making you uncomfortable in lower places. And this is where many people become confused. They think, why am I losing interest? Why do I feel alone? Why do I feel like I cannot connect like before? But what if Allah is not taking joy away from you? What if He is removing the false joy so He can give you real peace? What if He is not making your life empty? What if He is making room for something cleaner, stronger, and closer to Him? You must understand something. Not every environment can carry your next stage. Some people were only assigned to your old version. Some friendships only worked when you were wounded. Some circles only accepted you when you were small. Some voices only loved you when you needed their approval. But when Allah begins to raise your heart, those same connections may start feeling tight. Not because you hate them, not because you are better than them, but because Allah is teaching you that your soul cannot grow in every room. A seed cannot become a tree if it stays inside the same small pot. At first, the pot protected it. Then the pot limited it. And maybe this is what Allah is showing you. That old world may have helped you at one stage, but it cannot hold your new rank. The distance came because your heart needed space to breathe. The distance came because your faith needed protection. The distance came because your purpose needed quiet. The distance came because Allah knew that if you stayed too close to certain people, you would keep lowering yourself just to belong. Do not keep shrinking your soul to fit into places Allah is removing you from. Do not beg for closeness with people who only understand the old you. Do not chase a circle that cannot honor the growth Allah is placing inside you. If Allah has made something feel distant, ask yourself with honesty, was it bringing me closer to Him, or was it pulling me back into my old self? Because sometimes the distance is the answer. Allah is not always removing people because they are evil. Sometimes He removes them because their chapter with you is complete. Sometimes He creates space because your next chapter requires focus, purity, maturity, and a stronger heart. So do not fear the strange distance. It may be painful, yes. It may feel confusing, yes. It may make you cry in private, yes. But it may also be the sign that Allah is moving you into a higher place, a cleaner path, and a deeper version of yourself. Your old world could not hold your new rank. So Allah created distance before your soul became trapped in a place it had already outgrown. Lesson 3. Allah did not remove them to hurt you. He removed them before they lowered you. Sometimes you keep asking why Allah allowed someone to leave your life. You remember the good moments. You remember the old conversations. You remember the way things used to feel. And because your heart is soft, you only look at what you lost. But Allah saw what you did not see. He saw where that connection was slowly taking you. He saw how your peace was becoming weaker. He saw how your confidence was being damaged. He saw how your heart was becoming tired from trying to keep something alive that was already draining you. My brother, my sister, not everyone who leaves your life is a loss. Sometimes their leaving is mercy. Sometimes Allah removes a person before they lower your faith, lower your peace, lower your standards, lower your focus, and lower the person you were meant to become. You may have wanted them to stay because you loved them, but Allah may have removed them because He loves you more. And this is difficult to accept when your heart is attached, because when we love someone, we do not always see clearly. We forgive too much. We explain too much. We ignore the signs. We keep hoping they will change. We keep telling ourselves, maybe it will become better. But Allah knows the ending before you reach it. He knows who would have broken your heart more deeply. He knows who would have pulled you away from your purpose. He knows who would have made you question your worth. He knows who would have made you smaller just so they could feel bigger. So when Allah creates distance, do not only look at the pain of separation, look at the protection inside it. Maybe Allah removed them before their words became poison in your heart. Maybe He removed them before their jealousy touched your blessing. Maybe He removed them before their habits became your habits. Maybe He removed them before their darkness made you forget your own light. You thought Allah was taking away love, but maybe Allah was taking away harm that was dressed like love. Because not every smile is sincere, not every closeness is safe, not every person who sits beside you wants to see you rise. Some people enjoy your weakness because it makes them feel needed. Some people love your broken version because they can control it. Some people can handle your pain, but they cannot handle your healing. And when Allah begins to heal you, those people may become uncomfortable. They liked you when you were confused. They liked you when you needed approval. They liked you when you kept apologizing for things that were not your fault. They liked you when you did not know your value. But the moment Allah begins to give you strength, clarity, and peace, the connection starts changing. That is why Allah may remove them before they lower you again. He may separate you before you return to an old weakness. He may close the door before your heart runs back. He may make the relationship feel heavy, so you finally stop calling it peace. Do not fight too hard for what Allah is making difficult. Sometimes difficulty is a sign. Sometimes heaviness is a warning. Sometimes distance is protection. And you must be honest with yourself. Did they bring you closer to Allah? Did they make you more peaceful? Did they respect your growth? Did they protect your heart? Did they remind you of your purpose? Or did you always feel smaller after being with them? Because the people Allah wants in your next chapter will not keep pulling you back into your old pain. They may not be perfect, but they will not make your soul feel trapped. So if someone has been removed, and every time you try to bring them back, your heart becomes restless, maybe Allah is showing you something. Maybe He is saying, do not return to what I rescued you from. The distance may hurt now, but one day you may look back and thank Allah that He removed them before they lowered you, before they broke you deeper, before they delayed your growth, and before they made you forget the rank Allah was preparing for you. Allah did not remove them to hurt you. He removed them because your soul was too valuable to be lowered by what He had already warned you about. Lesson 4. When your soul outgrows people, even their love starts feeling heavy. There is a strange pain that comes when you begin to grow. It is not always the pain of enemies. It is not always the pain of betrayal. It is not always the pain of people openly hurting you. Sometimes the deepest pain comes when people still love you, but their love no longer gives your heart peace. They may still speak to you. They may still laugh with you. They may still say they care about you. They may still remind you of old memories, but something inside you feels heavy. You cannot explain it clearly. You cannot fully hate them. You cannot fully leave them, but you also cannot feel comfortable around them like before. And this is where many people become confused. They say, maybe I am becoming proud. Maybe I am becoming cold. Maybe I am changing too much. Maybe something is wrong with me. But my brother, my sister, listen carefully. Sometimes nothing is wrong with you. Sometimes your soul is simply outgrowing what once felt normal. When Allah begins to move you higher, He changes what your heart can sit with. He changes what your spirit can accept. He changes what your ears can enjoy. He changes what your time can tolerate. The same conversations that once made you laugh may now make your heart uncomfortable. The same jokes that once felt harmless may now feel empty. The same gatherings that once felt fun may now feel like a burden. The same people you once needed may now feel like a weight on your chest, not because you think you are better than them. No, a believer should never look down on people. But growth changes your appetite. When Allah feeds your soul with something cleaner, you cannot enjoy the same poison with the same smile. When Allah gives your heart a taste of peace, noise becomes painful. When Allah gives your heart a taste of prayer, emptiness becomes obvious. When Allah gives your heart a taste of purpose, wasting life starts feeling heavy. This is why even love can start feeling heavy. Because not every love is healthy. Not every love brings you closer to Allah. Not every love protects your peace. Not every love supports your growth. Some love is mixed with control. Some love is mixed with jealousy. Some love is mixed with guilt. Some love is mixed with old expectations. Some love only accepts the version of you that stayed small. They may love you, but they may not love the person Allah is making you become. They may love your company, but not your growth. They may love your kindness, but not your boundaries. They may love your soft heart, but not your strength. They may love your old silence, but not your new clarity. They may love how available you used to be, but not the way you now protect your time, your prayer, your peace, and your future. And this is when the relationship becomes heavy, because you are no longer able to shrink yourself just to keep them comfortable. Before, you may have laughed at things that hurt your soul. Before, you may have stayed quiet when your heart wanted to speak. Before, you may have agreed with things just to avoid conflict. Before, you may have followed people even when you knew they were pulling you away from Allah. Before, you may have ignored red flags because you were afraid to be alone. But now Allah is waking something inside you. Now your heart is becoming more alert. Now your soul is becoming more sensitive. Now your peace is becoming more valuable. Now your relationship with Allah is becoming more important than your need to be accepted by people. So you begin to feel distance, not because you are trying to hurt anyone, but because Allah is teaching you that your soul cannot keep living in rooms where it has to keep lowering itself. And this is difficult, because when you outgrow people, you do not always stop loving them. Sometimes you still care. Sometimes you still make dua for them. Sometimes you still remember the good they did for you. Sometimes you still feel pain when you think about the distance, but you also know something has changed. You know that being too close to them pulls you back into an older version of yourself. You know that every time you return, your heart becomes cloudy again. You know that every time you sit in the same circle, your focus weakens. You know that every time you try to force the old closeness, your soul feels trapped. That heaviness is not always hatred. Sometimes that heaviness is guidance. Allah may be showing you, this connection had a season. This place had a purpose. This chapter taught you something. But now you must move forward. And moving forward does not mean you become harsh. It does not mean you become arrogant. It does not mean you treat people badly. It does not mean you forget the good they once gave you. A believer moves with mercy. You can love people from a distance. You can forgive without returning. You can respect someone without giving them access to your heart. You can make dua for someone without allowing them to keep lowering your peace. You can be kind without becoming trapped again. This is maturity, because many people think love means unlimited access. But Islam teaches balance. Mercy does not mean allowing harm. Forgiveness does not mean returning to the same cage. Kindness does not mean losing yourself again. Sometimes the most peaceful thing you can do is step back quietly. No drama, no revenge, no hatred, no need to prove anything. Just a quiet step back, because your soul can no longer breathe in the same place. And you must understand this clearly. When Allah is raising you, He may make certain things uncomfortable before He removes them completely. First, the conversation feels heavy. Then the gathering feels empty. Then the friendship feels forced. Then the old habit feels strange. Then the old lifestyle feels like a burden. And slowly, Allah teaches your heart to detach. Not all at once, not with cruelty, but with wisdom. Because if Allah removed everything suddenly, your heart might run back. So sometimes He allows you to feel the weight of what you used to love, until you finally understand why it cannot come with you. This is not punishment. This is purification. Allah is cleaning your attachments. Allah is protecting your direction. Allah is teaching you to stop confusing familiarity with destiny. Allah is showing you that just because someone was part of your past does not mean they are assigned to your future. Some people are lessons. Some people are mirrors. Some people are tests. Some people are temporary mercy. Some people are warnings wrapped in attachment. And some people were never meant to walk with you into the higher place Allah is preparing. This is why your soul feels heavy around them. Your heart has changed rooms, but your body is still standing near the old door. Your spirit has moved forward, but your emotions are still holding old memories. So do not panic when love feels heavy. Ask Allah for clarity. Ask Allah for a clean heart. Ask Allah to remove pride from you. Ask Allah to protect you from cutting off people wrongly. But also ask Allah for the courage to step away from what He is clearly making heavy. Because the higher Allah lifts your soul, the more careful you must become with access. Not everyone should have access to your mind. Not everyone should have access to your emotions. Not everyone should have access to your plans. Not everyone should have access to your weakness. Not everyone should have access to the new version Allah is building inside you. Protecting your heart is not arrogance. Protecting your iman is not pride. Protecting your peace is not selfishness. Sometimes it is obedience. Because if a connection keeps pulling you away from Allah, away from prayer, away from discipline, away from your purpose, away from your dignity, then distance may be a mercy. And one day you may understand. You may look back and realize that Allah was not making you lonely. He was making you lighter. He was removing the emotional weight that made your steps slow. He was removing the old voices that made you doubt yourself. He was removing the old rooms that made you forget your worth. He was removing the old attachments that kept your soul tied to a lower version of life. So when your soul outgrows people, do not respond with cruelty. Respond with wisdom. Do not insult them. Do not expose them. Do not carry hatred. Do not act as if you are better. Just move with dignity. Let Allah handle what you cannot explain. Let Allah heal what you still miss. Let Allah replace what was heavy with what is peaceful. Let Allah bring people who can love you without lowering you. Because the love that Allah sends into your future will not make you feel trapped. It will remind you of Him. It will protect your peace. It will respect your growth. It will not punish you for becoming better. It will not make you feel guilty for choosing Allah over old habits. So if the love that once comforted you now feels heavy, do not ignore the sign. Maybe Allah is teaching your soul to rise. Maybe Allah is showing you that your heart was created for a cleaner place. Maybe Allah is moving you higher, and the weight you feel is the proof that you can no longer carry what once carried you. Your soul did not become cold. Your soul became awake. And when the soul wakes up, it can no longer sleep peacefully in places Allah has already called it out of. Lesson 5. The loneliness was not emptiness. It was Allah clearing the room. There is a loneliness that feels like punishment. You sit alone, and your mind begins to speak too loudly. You look at your phone, but no message brings comfort. You remember old people, old places, old moments, and your heart becomes heavy. You wonder why everyone seems to be moving on while you are sitting with a silence you never asked for. And in that silence, a dangerous thought may come. Maybe Allah has forgotten me. But no, my brother, my sister, Allah does not forget His servant. Sometimes what feels like emptiness is actually preparation. Sometimes what feels like being abandoned is actually being protected. Sometimes what feels like loneliness is Allah clearing the room before He fills it with something better. Because there are moments in life when your heart becomes too crowded. Crowded with people's opinions. Crowded with old attachments. Crowded with fear. Crowded with memories. Crowded with voices that are not even helping you. Crowded with relationships that keep pulling your attention away from Allah. Crowded with habits that make your soul tired. And because your heart is crowded, you cannot hear guidance clearly. You cannot see your path clearly. You cannot understand what Allah is teaching you. You cannot recognize the blessings that are trying to enter your life. So Allah creates space. At first, that space feels painful because you were used to noise. You were used to being needed. You were used to chasing people. You were used to explaining yourself. You were used to filling every quiet moment with something. You were used to running from your own heart. Then suddenly, Allah slows everything down. The messages become fewer. The invitations become fewer. The old excitement fades. The old circle becomes distant. The same people who once surrounded you no longer feel close, and you find yourself alone with your own soul. This is where many people become afraid, because when Allah clears the room, you start seeing things you were avoiding. You start seeing wounds you never healed. You start seeing habits you kept hiding. You start seeing how much you depended on people for your worth. You start seeing how much you needed approval. You start seeing how tired your heart really was, and that can feel painful. But pain is not always a sign that Allah is against you. Sometimes pain is the sign that healing has finally begun. A wound can only be cleaned when it is uncovered. And maybe Allah allowed this loneliness because your heart needed to be uncovered. You were smiling around people, but bleeding inside. You were giving strength to others, but breaking quietly. You were always available for people, but never present with Allah. You were always listening to everyone else, but you forgot to listen to the condition of your own soul. So Allah gave you silence, not to destroy you, but to return you to yourself, and more importantly, to return you to Him, because sometimes we do not realize how far we have drifted until the crowd disappears. When people are around us all the time, we can hide behind them. When life is noisy, we can avoid reflection. When the heart is busy with attachments, we can delay repentance. When the soul is entertained, it can forget the purpose of life. But when Allah removes the noise, the heart begins to hear again. You begin to ask deeper questions. What am I doing with my life? Who am I becoming? Why am I so attached to people? Why does my peace depend on someone replying to me? Why do I feel empty when no one praises me? Why did I keep accepting less than what Allah wanted for me? These questions are not a curse. They are mercy. They are signs that your soul is waking up, because a sleeping heart only wants distraction, but an awakened heart wants truth, and truth often begins in silence. Look at your loneliness differently. Maybe Allah is not making your life empty. Maybe He is removing the wrong furniture from your heart. Maybe He is taking out the old anger, the old fear, the old dependence, the old weakness, the old people-pleasing, the old need to be accepted by everyone. Because before Allah fills a room, He may first clear it. Before He gives you peace, He may remove the noise. Before He gives you direction, He may remove confusion. Before He gives you stronger company, He may remove company that weakened you. Before He gives you a cleaner future, He may separate you from what kept pulling you back. And this is why the empty space should not always scare you. A room that is being cleaned looks messy before it becomes peaceful. A heart that is being purified feels lonely before it becomes strong. A soul that is being raised often feels separated before it understands why. Do not rush to fill the silence with the same people Allah removed. Do not run back to old conversations just because the quiet feels uncomfortable. Do not reopen doors that Allah closed just because you miss the sound of someone knocking. Sometimes you miss the noise, not the person. Sometimes you miss the habit, not the connection. Sometimes you miss being distracted, because distraction kept you from facing your own heart. But Allah wants more for you than distraction. Allah wants your heart to become clean enough to receive what is coming. You cannot receive a higher chapter while holding tightly to every lower attachment. You cannot ask Allah for peace while still feeding the noise that stole your peace. You cannot ask Allah for better people while still begging for access to those who kept lowering you. You cannot ask Allah to raise your rank while refusing the separation that elevation requires. So when loneliness comes, do not only cry over who left. Ask yourself, what is Allah making room for? Maybe He is making room for stronger faith. Maybe He is making room for better habits. Maybe He is making room for deeper prayer. Maybe He is making room for wisdom. Maybe He is making room for discipline. Maybe He is making room for people who will not drain your soul. Maybe He is making room for a version of you that could not be born in the noise. Because some versions of you can only be built in silence. The stronger you is not always born in a crowd. Sometimes the stronger you is born when nobody is clapping, when nobody is checking on you, when nobody understands your tears, when nobody sees how hard you are trying to remain patient. But Allah sees. Allah sees you sitting alone and still trying. Allah sees you fighting the urge to go back. Allah sees you choosing prayer over panic. Allah sees you choosing patience over bitterness. Allah sees you choosing silence over revenge. Allah sees you choosing Him when your heart wants people. And when Allah sees that, nothing is wasted. Your lonely nights are not wasted. Your quiet tears are not wasted. Your private battles are not wasted. Your patience is not wasted. Your effort to heal is not wasted. Even when people do not notice, Allah records. Even when people misunderstand, Allah knows. Even when people leave, Allah remains. And this is the secret of this lesson. Sometimes Allah empties your life so you finally realize He was never absent. You were just surrounded by too much noise to feel His closeness. You thought closeness meant people around you. But Allah may teach you that the greatest closeness is not when people fill your room. It is when Allah fills your heart. Because when Allah fills the heart, even silence becomes soft. Even loneliness becomes meaningful. Even distance becomes protection. Even waiting becomes worship. even tears become a path back to Him. This does not mean you will never need people. No, we are human. We need love, family, friendship, and support. But Allah may allow a season of loneliness to teach you not to worship people's presence. People are blessings, but Allah is the source. People can comfort you, but Allah heals you. People can walk with you, but Allah carries you. People can leave you, but Allah never leaves the one who turns back to Him. So if you are in a season where your circle feels empty, your phone feels quiet, your heart feels alone, and your life feels strange, do not immediately call it rejection. Maybe it is preparation. Maybe Allah is clearing the room. Maybe He is removing what was too loud, too heavy, too distracting, too harmful, too tied to your old self. And maybe, when the room becomes quiet enough, you will finally hear what Allah has been teaching you all along. You were not abandoned. You were being cleaned. You were not forgotten. You were being protected. You were not left empty. You were being made ready. Because Allah does not clear a room for no reason. When He removes what your heart was clinging to, He may be preparing your heart for something your old life could never hold. So be patient with the empty space. Do not curse the silence. Do not hate the distance. Do not run back to the cage just because the room feels quiet. Let Allah clear what needs to be cleared. Let Allah heal what needs to be healed. Let Allah remove what keeps lowering your heart. And trust that the same Allah who emptied the room knows exactly how to fill it again. The loneliness was not emptiness. It was Allah clearing the room for your peace, your growth, your healing, your stronger faith, and the higher place He is moving you toward. Lesson 6. Some people can walk with your pain, but not with your elevation. There is something very strange you may notice when Allah begins to heal you. Some people were comfortable with your brokenness. They could sit with you when you were sad. They could listen to you when you were confused. They could comfort you when you were weak. They could stay near you when you did not know your value. But the moment Allah begins to raise you, something changes. The same people who once showed concern may suddenly become distant. The same people who once gave advice may suddenly become silent. The same people who once said, "I am here for you," may no longer celebrate when Allah opens a door for you. And this can hurt deeply, because you expected them to be happy. You thought, they saw my pain, they saw my tears, they saw my struggle. Surely they will be happy when Allah finally gives me strength. But not everyone who can walk with your pain can walk with your elevation. Some people can handle you when you are wounded, because your wound makes them feel needed. Some people can handle you when you are weak, because your weakness does not threaten them. Some people can handle you when you are confused, because your confusion keeps you dependent. Some people can handle you when you are small, because your smallness makes them comfortable. But when Allah begins to lift you, your growth may expose what was hidden in their hearts. This is not always because they are evil. Sometimes it is jealousy, sometimes it is insecurity, sometimes it is fear, sometimes it is control, sometimes it is the pain of seeing you become what they never thought you could become. And this is why Allah creates distance, because your elevation needs protection. My brother, my sister, when Allah begins to move you higher, you cannot keep giving full access to everyone who only knew how to love your low season. You must learn this with wisdom. There are people who loved you when you were crying, but they become uncomfortable when you start smiling again. There are people who listen to your problems, but they become silent when you speak about your progress. There are people who prayed for you when you were falling, but they become uneasy when Allah helps you rise. There are people who felt close to you only because you were struggling like them. But when your life begins to change, they no longer know where to place you. And that is when the distance begins. You feel it in their tone. You feel it in their silence. You feel it in their delayed replies. You feel it in the way they stop asking about the thing they know Allah has blessed you with. You feel it in the way they quickly change the topic when you mention your growth. You feel it in the way they make small comments that try to bring you back down. At first, you may ignore it. You may tell yourself, maybe I am overthinking. You may make excuses for them. You may try harder to include them. You may shrink your happiness so they do not feel uncomfortable. You may hide your blessings so they do not feel disturbed. But listen carefully. You should never become arrogant because Allah blessed you. But you also should never feel guilty because Allah was merciful to you. Do not show off. Do not look down on others. Do not treat people like they are beneath you. But also, do not keep apologizing for the blessings Allah gave you. Because some people do not want you humble. They want you hidden. They do not want you grateful. They want you quiet. They do not want you careful with blessings. They want you ashamed of rising. And when Allah is moving you higher, you must know the difference. Humility means you know every blessing is from Allah. But insecurity means you hide every blessing because people cannot handle it. Gratitude means you thank Allah without pride. But fear means you bury your growth so others can stay comfortable. And Allah did not raise you so you could live scared of being seen by people who preferred you wounded. This is why distance is sometimes necessary, because elevation changes the atmosphere around you. When Allah gives you clarity, some people will miss your confusion. When Allah gives you discipline, some people will miss your excuses. When Allah gives you peace, some people will miss your panic. When Allah gives you strength, some people will miss your neediness. When Allah gives you direction, some people will miss the version of you they could influence. And if you keep standing too close to those people, they may slowly pull you back. Not always with big attacks, sometimes with small words. Who do you think you are now? You changed. You think you are better than us. Don't forget where you came from. You are not like this. Why are you acting different? And those words can enter the heart. They can make you doubt the healing Allah gave you. They can make you feel guilty for becoming stronger. They can make you return to old habits just to prove you are still the same. They can make you lower your standard just to keep old approval. But my brother, my sister, what if Allah did not heal you so you could go back? What if Allah did not raise you so you could keep proving yourself to people who only accepted your broken version? What if Allah created distance because He knew their voice would disturb the new strength He was building inside you? You must understand something. Not everyone is assigned to your next chapter. Some people were only witnesses of your pain. They were not meant to be companions of your elevation. Some people saw you in the valley, but they cannot walk with you on the mountain. Some people were near you in the storm, but they cannot stand beside you in the sunlight. Some people understood your tears, but they cannot understand your growth. And this does not mean you hate them. No, a believer does not carry unnecessary hatred. You can forgive them. You can make dua for them. You can wish them goodness. You can remember the good they once did. But you must also accept reality. Access must change when Allah is changing your rank. You cannot keep giving your heart to people who keep lowering your spirit. You cannot keep sharing your dreams with people who secretly hope you fail. You cannot keep explaining your growth to people who benefit from your weakness. You cannot keep returning to circles that only feel peaceful when you are not becoming better. Sometimes Allah creates distance not because He wants you to become proud, but because He wants you to become protected. Protected from jealousy, protected from guilt, protected from confusion, protected from old influence, protected from voices that would make you question what Allah has already made clear. And there is a wisdom in this. When a fruit begins to grow, it must be protected until it becomes strong. When a wound begins to heal, it must be protected from being touched again. When a new plant begins to rise from the soil, it must be protected from being stepped on. And when Allah begins to build a new version of you, your environment matters. Your heart is not made of stone. Words affect you, people affect you, company affects you, energy affects you, conversations affect you. That is why Islam teaches us to be careful with companionship. Who you sit with can either lift your soul or slowly weaken it. A person may not destroy you in one day, but day by day, their words can lower your hope, their habits can weaken your discipline, their jealousy can disturb your peace, their negativity can make you forget how far Allah has brought you. So when Allah creates distance, do not always beg for the old closeness. Ask Allah for wisdom. Say, Allah, if this distance is protection, give my heart peace with it. And if this person is good for my path, bring us together in a way that pleases you. Because you do not want distance from the wrong people only. You want closeness to the right people. You want people who remind you of Allah. People who are happy when Allah blesses you. People who correct you with mercy, not jealousy. People who protect your name when you are absent. people who do not compete with your healing, people who do not punish you for growing, people who do not make you feel guilty for choosing peace. And until Allah sends those people, learn to walk with Him. Learn to be okay when some people do not clap. Learn to be okay when some people misunderstand. Learn to be okay when some people say you changed, because maybe you did change. Maybe you stopped begging. Maybe you stopped chasing. Maybe you stopped accepting disrespect. Maybe you stopped laughing at what damaged your soul. Maybe you stopped lowering your faith to fit in. Maybe you stopped being available for every voice that drained you. Maybe you stopped needing people to approve what Allah already placed in your heart. That is not pride. That is growth. And growth will always offend people who benefited from your weakness. So be careful. Do not let their discomfort become your guilt. Do not let their silence become your shame. Do not let their jealousy become your fear. Do not let their distance make you run back to your old cage. Allah may be showing you something. He may be showing you who loved you sincerely and who only loved the version of you they could control. He may be showing you who celebrates your healing and who only tolerated your pain. He may be showing you who is safe for your future and who belongs to your past. And yes, this can break your heart, because sometimes the people you lose during elevation are people you thought would stay forever. But trust Allah. The one who raises you knows who can walk with you. The one who opens the door knows who should enter with you. The one who heals your heart knows whose presence will reopen the wound. The one who changes your rank knows whose voice will try to pull you back down. So when people become distant as you begin to grow, do not panic. Do not become bitter. Do not become arrogant. Do not become angry with Allah. Understand the lesson. Some people can walk with your pain, but not with your elevation. And Allah, in His mercy, may create distance, so your elevation is not poisoned by people who secretly preferred you broken. Let them go with dignity. Forgive without returning to the same trap. Love without giving unsafe access. Make dua without reopening every door. And keep walking toward Allah. Because the people who are meant for your higher chapter will not make you feel guilty for leaving your lower one. They will not compete with your growth. They will not mock your discipline. They will not fear your light. They will remind you that every blessing is from Allah, every elevation is a test, every rank requires humility, and every step upward should bring you closer to Him. That is the kind of company Allah may be clearing space for. So do not fear the distance. Sometimes the distance is not proof that you are losing people. It is proof that Allah is protecting the higher version of you from the hands that only knew how to hold your brokenness. Lesson 7. Allah may hide you before He honors you. There is a season in life where Allah hides you. Not because you are worthless, not because your effort is unseen, not because your prayers are being ignored, but because Allah is preparing something inside you that people are not ready to see yet. And this hidden season can feel very strange. You may feel like no one notices your struggle. No one sees your patience. No one understands your silence. No one knows how much you are fighting inside. No one knows how much you have changed. No one knows how many times you wanted to give up, but you still kept going. You are trying. You are praying. You are healing. You are becoming better. You are leaving old habits. You are choosing Allah when nobody is watching. But from the outside, nothing looks different. People still misunderstand you. People still judge you from your past. People still speak as if they know your heart. People still treat you like the old version of yourself. People still do not recognize what Allah is building inside you. And that can hurt, because when you are growing quietly, part of you wants someone to notice. You want someone to say, I see how hard you are trying. You want someone to say, you are not the same person anymore. You want someone to understand that your silence is not weakness, your distance is not pride, and your quietness is not failure. But sometimes Allah does not allow people to see you yet, because if they saw you too early, their words might disturb your growth. If they praised you too early, your heart might become attached to praise. If they recognized you too early, you might begin to live for recognition instead of sincerity. If they opened doors too early, you might enter before your heart was ready to carry what was behind them. So Allah hides you. He hides you in the quiet. He hides you in patience. He hides you in small acts of obedience. He hides you in lonely nights. He hides you in private tears. He hides you in battles no one knows about. And while people think nothing is happening, Allah is changing everything. My brother, my sister, do not hate the hidden season. The hidden season is not always delay. Sometimes it is protection. A seed is hidden under the soil before it becomes a tree. A pearl is hidden inside the shell before it is valued. A child is hidden in the womb before entering the world. A sunrise is hidden behind the darkness before the sky opens. Many beautiful things begin hidden. So why do you think your growth must be seen immediately? Sometimes Allah hides what He is raising, because exposure too early can damage what is still being formed. You may want the world to see your change now, but Allah may know that your roots are still growing. And roots do not grow in public. Roots grow in darkness. Roots grow in silence. Roots grow where no one claps. Roots grow where no one says, well done. Roots grow where only Allah sees. And without roots, a tree cannot survive height. This is why Allah may hide you before He honors you. Because honor without roots can destroy a person. Recognition without humility can poison the heart. Success without patience can make a person forget Allah. Elevation without purification can become a test that breaks the soul. So before Allah places you in a position where people notice you, He may first place you in a season where only He notices you. And this season teaches you sincerity. It teaches you to pray when nobody praises you. It teaches you to do good when nobody thanks you. It teaches you to keep going when nobody understands. It teaches you to remain patient when nobody sees your sacrifice. It teaches you to choose Allah when there is no reward from people. Because one of the greatest tests of the heart is this: will you still do the right thing when no one sees you except Allah? Will you still remain kind when nobody appreciates you? Will you still repent when nobody knows your struggle? Will you still work on yourself when nobody applauds your growth? Will you still protect your character when people misunderstand your silence? This is where real elevation begins. Not in public, not in applause, not in attention, but in the hidden places where your heart becomes sincere. And maybe this is why Allah has made you feel distant. Maybe He is hiding you from the wrong eyes. Maybe He is hiding your progress from jealous hearts. Maybe He is hiding your plans from people who would discourage you. Maybe He is hiding your healing from people who would try to pull you back. Maybe He is hiding your next chapter until it becomes strong enough to stand without being shaken by people's opinions. You think you are invisible, but maybe you are protected. You think no one sees you, but maybe Allah is keeping your growth away from those who would not handle it with a clean heart. You think the silence means nothing is happening, but maybe the silence is where Allah is doing the deepest work. Do not measure Allah's work by how many people notice you. People notice the fruit. Allah grows the roots. People notice the result. Allah sees the nights. People notice the change after it appears. Allah sees the pain that produced it. People may only praise you when you finally rise, but Allah saw you when you were crawling, crying, trying, falling, returning, repenting, and still refusing to give up. So do not become tired just because your effort is hidden. The angels record what people ignore. Allah knows what people overlook. Your quiet patience has weight. Your private dua has weight. Your hidden tears have weight. Your decision to stay away from sin when nobody knows has weight. Your struggle to forgive has weight. Your effort to become better has weight. Nothing done for Allah disappears. Nothing sincere is wasted. Nothing hidden from people is hidden from Him. And sometimes the things hidden from people are the most beloved to Allah because they are free from showing off. This is why you must be careful in the hidden season. Do not ruin it by begging people to notice you. Do not keep explaining your growth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Do not keep proving your sincerity to those who already decided what they want to believe. Do not expose every step of your healing just to feel validated. Some things must remain between you and Allah. Some tears are too sacred for public eyes. Some battles are too deep for shallow people. Some blessings must grow quietly before they are spoken about. Some transformations must stay hidden until Allah Himself makes them clear. Because when Allah chooses the time to reveal something, no one can block it. When Allah decides to honor a servant, The same people who ignored them may be forced to witness what Allah has done. When Allah opens a door, the people who close their hearts cannot close His mercy. When Allah raises your rank, the people who misunderstood your silence cannot cancel His decree. But the timing belongs to Allah. And this is difficult for the heart because we want things quickly. We want healing quickly. We want recognition quickly. We want answers quickly. We want people to understand quickly. We want the door to open quickly. We want the pain to make sense quickly. But Allah does not rush the servant He is preparing. He prepares with wisdom. He delays with mercy. He hides with purpose. He distances with protection. He tests with love. And He reveals at the right time. So if you are in a season where you feel unseen, do not call yourself forgotten. Say, Allah is hiding me while He is building me. If you are in a season where people do not understand your change, do not run after their approval. Say, Allah knows the work He is doing in my heart. If you are in a season where nothing seems to be moving, do not assume nothing is happening. Say, the roots are growing, even if the fruit is not visible yet. Because hidden does not mean hopeless. Hidden does not mean rejected. Hidden does not mean abandoned. Hidden may mean protected. Hidden may mean prepared. Hidden may mean Allah is keeping you away from noise until your heart is strong enough to carry what He is about to give you. And when Allah finally honors you, you will understand why He hid you. You will understand why certain people could not stay close. You will understand why some doors stayed closed. You will understand why the quiet season lasted longer than you wanted. You will understand why Allah did not let you rush. Because the honor Allah gives is not only about being seen by people. The real honor is that your heart remains with Allah when people finally see you. What is the benefit of being raised in front of people if the heart becomes arrogant? What is the benefit of being admired if the soul becomes empty? What is the benefit of being noticed if the servant forgets the one who made it possible? This is why Allah prepares the heart before He reveals the rank. He teaches you humility before visibility. He teaches you patience before honor. He teaches you sincerity before recognition. He teaches you dependence on Him before people begin depending on you. He teaches you silence before your words carry weight. He teaches you loneliness before He sends the right company. He teaches you hidden worship before public blessing. So do not despise this season. This distance you feel may be part of being hidden. Allah may be removing you from places where your growth would be interrupted. Allah may be keeping you away from people who would poison your intention. Allah may be delaying attention because He is protecting your sincerity. Allah may be making your life quiet because He is teaching your heart to hear Him first. And when the time is right, what Allah has built in secret will become clear. Not because you forced people to see it, not because you begged for validation, not because you kept proving yourself, but because Allah revealed it. And when Allah reveals, He reveals with wisdom. So keep becoming better in private. Keep praying when no one knows. Keep healing without announcing every wound. Keep improving without needing everyone to clap. Keep choosing Allah in the hidden places. Keep protecting your heart from pride. Keep asking Allah to make your intention clean. And keep trusting that the one who hides you is not humiliating you. He may be honoring you in a way you cannot yet understand. Because sometimes Allah hides a servant before He raises them. Sometimes He covers their growth before He shows their fruit. Sometimes He keeps them unseen before He makes their patience visible. And sometimes the distance you feel is not the world rejecting you. It is Allah protecting what He is preparing in you. So be patient. Your hidden season has meaning. Your quiet struggle has value. Your unseen effort is known. Your tears have reached the one who never ignores His servant. And when Allah honors you, you will not only thank Him for the doors He opened, you will thank Him for the years He hid you, protected you, purified you, and prepared your heart to carry what your old self could never have carried. Allah may hide you before He honors you, but when He honors you, no one can deny what He built in the hidden places. Lesson 8. You were not distanced from life, you were being moved closer to Allah. If you remember only one lesson from everything you have heard today, let it be this. The strange distance you feel is not always a sign that life is falling apart. Sometimes it is the first sign that Allah is bringing you back to Him. Many people spend years asking Allah for peace. They ask for a clean heart. They ask for stronger faith. They ask for guidance. They ask for protection. They ask Allah to remove what is harmful. But when Allah begins answering those prayers, the answer often does not look the way they expected. Instead of gaining more people, they lose people. Instead of more comfort, they face uncertainty. Instead of more noise, they experience silence. Instead of feeling understood, they feel misunderstood. Instead of feeling accepted everywhere, they begin feeling like strangers. And because they only look at what has disappeared, they fail to see what Allah is creating. My brother, my sister, every believer reaches a moment where Allah asks the heart a silent question. Who is enough for you? Is the world enough? Are people enough? Is success enough? Is attention enough? Is praise enough? Or is Allah enough? This question cannot always be answered with words. It is answered through the way you live. When people leave, where does your heart run? When plans collapse, where does your hope remain? When no one understands you, who do you complain to? When the future becomes uncertain, whose promise do you still trust? These are the moments that reveal the true condition of the heart. Many of us think we are attached to Allah, but sometimes we are more attached to the things Allah gave us than to Allah Himself. We love the blessing, but do we love the one who gave the blessing? We love being accepted, but do we still love Allah when we are misunderstood? We love having people around us, but do we still feel close to Allah when we stand alone? This is why Allah sometimes removes what the heart has begun to depend on too much. Not because He wants to make you miserable, but because He knows your heart was created for something greater than depending on creation. Your heart was created to depend on the Creator. The strange distance you feel may be Allah gently breaking unhealthy attachments before they become idols inside your heart. Because anything that takes the place Allah deserves will eventually become a burden. People disappoint, money disappears, health changes, positions come and go, beauty fades, praise is forgotten. This world keeps changing, but Allah never changes. His mercy does not change. His knowledge does not change. His wisdom does not change. His promise does not change. His love for the servant who sincerely returns to Him does not change. That is why Allah may allow everything else to become unstable. So you finally discover the one thing that never moves, Him. Think about your own life. There were people you thought